Welcome back. We're going to do a review on the RUF CTR by Almost Real. We're also going to answer that question of what was in the box. This is the RUF CTR in Blossom Yellow. And just like with the predecessor model, the SCR, the shape is spot on to the real thing. The overall paint on this particular model is very good. It does have some what is called orange peel, which simply means that whenever you spray paint onto any type of metal surface or ABS, there is a bubbling effect. It's very, very subtle, but it looks similar to what you would see on an orange surface. So that's where the orange peel name comes from, if you didn't know already. So moving on to the wheel detail. And you're going to find, obviously, that a lot of what I'm going to go over is going to be very similar to the other review of the SCR, because these are basically the same car. So the wheel detail is very good. The carbon ceramic brakes are excellent. The caliper detail is also excellent. You can see the RUF name on the calipers, and it's printed very clearly, legibly. The only miss on the wheels, again, just like the predecessor, is the lack of valve stems and branding scripting on the tires. But I wouldn't expect that on this model at this price point, and there are models that are far more expensive that would not have the print either. Just moving on to the front of the model, the light detail is fantastic. It's very clear. You can clearly see the bulbs within the light, so that within the casing rather, and that definitely looks very good, gives some sense of realism. You have this very nice perforated grille at the bottom. Again, just very, very nice, well detailed, no complaints there. I really like the clear side markers. That's definitely a European spec thing. A lot of us in the US, when we have our cars, we usually change them over from that horrific orange that we usually have on ours to the clear. So moving on to the back of the model. And rear taillight detail is fantastic. These vents are true vents, and there is actually a perforated grille behind them. It's very fine, very faint, but it is there. It's one of those things that you wouldn't necessarily have to have, but of course Almost Real included it. Really nice exhaust outlets. They're hollow enough so they give a sense of realism. And right below, or on top I should say, of this aluminum or stainless steel exhaust, there is the RUF imprint on it. It's a very, very nice detail. Let's move on to opening this model. It's pretty simple. As I mentioned in the introduction, this does come with a tool. I'm just going to use my outer out tool because I have it here. And the operation for opening this model is very easy, and it doesn't feel fragile or delicate. It feels as if this will last a very long time, and it's very sturdy. There you are. This is a fully opening metal die-cast model. Just taking a glance, and we will get a close-up of this, but just taking a glance at the interior, you have this very nicely done door card with the print there, that plaid print, which is infamous for RUF. So it's really, really nicely detailed. Let's just take a closer look now. The interior in this model is an all black affair, so even with the light on it, it is kind of hard to see some of the finer details. But what you can see, this is a very nicely done interior. You have the plaid seats, which is really nice. You have a true stitched seat belt, which is right there, and it does have a metal buckle, so that's really nice. there is definitely a sense of separation with the buckle that's onto the actual seat, which is really nice. Same thing goes for this handbrake here. I really like the different textures that are on each one of these plastics because they are different from each other. The handle, for example, I know it's hard to see it here. The texture of this is a little bit different than what you see on the panel here, which is really nice. The shifter boot has the wrinkles in it. This is a hard plastic, but it looks like it's a soft leather casing, which is really nice. And all the controls are very nicely done. The dashboard with all the gauges are nice, concise, and clear. All the switches. If you look at the floor there, this is a 3-pedal setup. It does have the RUF printed right there on the pedals, which is really nice. It's a little hint of that carbon fiber as well, if you look behind the pedals. It even has the information like the weight of the car, the date in which it was actually built, all imprinted there. It's not legible to the point where you could read all the information, but it's again a very nice detail. It's added, it gives a very nice sense of realism. If you can gander back here, you can see that the backing of the seats, let me lower this, are carbon fiber, which is very cool. And again, it's included on this model. The front compartment, it is a fully dry carbon fiber pattern. You have that RUF that's imprinted there. You do have a cap for some type of fluid. I'm assuming that is for the windshield wipers fluid. I'm not sure what that one is, but nice photo etched piece there. You have a decal with information in the corner. These three here, these are perforated grills. This is actually an intake. So when you close it down right there, see how that works? It's very nice. And there's this beautiful, well-detailed motor. And this looks very, very much like the real deal. You have all the wiring, hoses, and lines. You have a dipstick there. You have the springs for the suspension that are back there as well. This model, per Almost Real's literature, does have a suspension, a working suspension, so you can see it there. Personally, that's cute, but okay, it works. It goes up and down. I love the RUF that's printed on the intake on both sides. It's just a very, very well put together, beautiful motor. Just some other details that you'll find with this model are the perforated grills behind the rear wheel well. This here is a perforated grill, and it's for the intakes that draw air into the motor. You also have the perforated grill on the trunk lid or frunk lid, which is really, really nice. And on the back of the car, you also have it present there as well. And you also have a decal with information there. And if you look at the hinge for the front, it actually has the 2 screws and bolts on the side. Again, these are these small details that they could have left out, but they didn't. They didn't have to do that, but they did. In the back of the car as well, you have these vents here, and these are perforated grills as well. It's very hard to see in this angle, but yeah, there you go. Again, they didn't have to do that, but they did. And there you are, the CTR by RUF, reproduced by Almost Real. And now to my conclusions. Well, I hope you enjoyed the review of that RUF CTR by Almost Real. This is a very, very good model. The things that stand out the most on this model is obviously the details. This is a very nicely detailed model. Just like its predecessor, the SCR by Almost Real, this one is a complete package. There are some things missing, but they're no different than what was missing off of the SCR model, which would be the lack of valve stems on the wheels and the tire branding or scripting on the tires. But at this price point, I wouldn't really expect that, so no surprises there. If you recall my Spotlight News video when I previewed the CTR, one of my biggest concerns is that Almost Real would just take pretty much that same mold and make the SCR, or the CTR I should say. Well, obviously yes, they did, because they are very much identical, but the back end does have the air ram scoops there on the back, and they are nicely perforated, so they didn't make a miss on that, which is very good, and they do look great. The other concern was the wheels. Now, I did further research and found out that the CTR does actually come with the same 5-star wheels with the hollow opening. The disappointment is that there is an option to get the solid 5-star wheels as well. I've never seen a photograph of that particular car out in the wild, in other words, out in the street, but it is on their website, and I did find out that is an option. And I really wish that that would have been put on this car. It would just bring it much more closely back to that original car. The other point I want to make about the wheels is the actual car has thinner tires than they are in the back. So you have that staggered setup, as it's called. Now, the rear wheels, being that they are wider, there actually should be a dip in the rim to reflect that wider size. If you notice on the model, the rim is flat, whereas in the actual car it is dipped. So that is a miss, and I really wish that that would have been done. Now that to me is definitely a cost-saving aspect from Almost Real, and it is somewhat of a disappointment. If I was to put a value on this model, I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars. Now, when I did the review on the SCR, I actually gave it 4. And the only reason, and keep in mind, this is all subjective, but keep in mind that the SCR green is absolutely beautiful. That is a beautiful color, and that trim that they put in there, that brown trim, it just, to me, is a much, much better color combination. It works really well with this particular model. This Blossom Yellow model, well, it's a yellow car, okay, and it has black interior, and it has plaid. It looks okay, but all that black really darkens everything. You can't see as much details. So that's the only reason. Again, keep in mind, these ratings are all subjective. Now, if you had a choice, because not everyone could buy, you know, every possible color combination of SCRs and CTRs. If I was to choose one, I would pick the SCR all day long over the CTR. Now maybe if it's in a different color, and maybe Almost Real will come out with different colors, because the real car does come in different colors, then that may be a consideration, especially if it came in that silver. The last thing I want to bring up was the question of what's in the box? Now, something I should have mentioned before, with these what's in the box segments, I don't even know what the car is. My producers, i.e. my daughters, actually obtain the models, and they actually cover up any information that would actually reveal as to what it is. The only thing that I knew it was an auto art. So we're going to find out together exactly what was in the box. So here we are. This is from Auto Art. Just open this up. All right. Oh, this is a Diablo Lamborghini. Now that much I knew. And this is in what we call Superfly Yellow. All right, look for that in the next review.